What's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Rimuru in Akame Ga Kill by alexkuhar360 Prologue. Third-person POV. In the midst of a large-scale conflict inside the forest of Jura, currently everyone was watching two individuals. One was dubbed the ruler of monsters, and the other the orc lord. They have been trying to devour each other for hours, but it seems to be at a stalemate, but everyone dare not look away. After many hours, the battle seems to be reaching its end and the orc is nowhere to be seen. Just as the light blue gelatin creature who came out victorious started to reform into a singular cohesive being, for some reason everyone watching all blinked at the same time. The millisecond that their eyes were closed, the creature everyone had been watching for hours was completely gone. No trace of him or the person he just ate, just an ominous silence. Some time later, in the midst of a battle, or more accurately described as a slaughter, the victorious army was cheering and hollering as they enjoyed the women and alcohol they acquired in their conquest. At the head of the army was a beautiful and tall woman characterized by her sadistic personality, light blue hair, large chest, and unmatched power. Currently she was walking through the city where they just quashed a rebellion. Even though her soldiers enjoyed having their way with the survivors, or even if the body was still warm, she preferred a different kind of activity, namely torture. But on her way to the place the city's nobles were being held, she caught sight of someone for a split second before they rounded a corner to her right. The person she saw had a similar but not identical blue hair color, but that should be impossible because her tribe was wiped out while she was out hunting. As the so-called strongest of the empire, and one of the aforementioned empire's most successful generals, the woman could acquire information quite easily on almost anything. But since she left her village she hadn't seen anyone else with a light blue hair color, which caused her to stop and ponder for a few seconds. She was so distracted that for a few seconds she forgot about torturing the nobles that lead the revolt against the empire and tried to follow the blue-haired person, but when she followed she couldn't find them. When she used her eyes to get the high ground of the entire area she couldn't find them. After a few minutes, the woman dismissed it as a figment of her imagination, perhaps a side effect of using so much of her energy in the fight against the revolting army, and returned to her thoughts of how to torture these nobles. With the only lingering thought from the woman a few quiet words. "I guess I really do miss home." A few minutes before. Rimuru's POV. What just happened? I was fighting the orc lord and devoured his and his people's sins, and now I am somewhere completely different. As I open my eyes I can see and hear very disturbing things. My senses seem dull and my body feels a little heavy, but not so much that I couldn't move properly. I better ask Great Sage what happened and where I am. Great Sage, what happened and where am I? Less than location unknown. After devouring the orc lord, the individual known as Rimuru Tempest was forcibly transported to a different place on a different planet. Whether this is a different dimension or universe is unknown, but the voice of the world is not active here. Greater than. Less than. This means that you cannot, as certain external skills and magic will be significantly more difficult to use because of the lack of ambient magicules. You are being sustained currently because the individual known as Veldora is still inside your stomach and is releasing magicules passively that you are absorbing to stay alive. Greater than. Well shit. Good thing Veldora is in my stomach or I would not be able to sustain myself or my skills. In area with high magic concentration, slimes don't need to eat. But what if the concentration was low? What does a slime eat then? It would be a catastrophic evolutionary failure if slimes couldn't sustain themselves by eating something if magicules weren't available. I hope I don't have to find out. If I used my knowledge from Earth I would guess that slimes eat attractive females' clothing, but that is definitely not realistic. Perhaps meat like a carnivore, or planets like an herbivore. Those planets in Veldora's cave did get absorbed pretty easily, so that is probably more likely. If I am on a different world again I have to get my bearings and learn about this world. From the look of it currently I am in a human city. It seems to be somewhere between medieval and modern technological wise. The second things I notice is the cheers of a bunch of men and the blood-curing screams of mostly women and a few men. Some of the houses around me are burned out or currently burning. What the hell is going on? Did I just get teleported into a war zone? I just came from one. As I stand up to look around I notice I am significantly older looking when I used to be. Now I look around 17 to 18 instead of looking 12 to 13. I wonder if this is because of traveling between worlds or because I ate the orc lord. Well, it doesn't matter, I need to go explore. Since this is a war zone and I am near humans, I put on Shizu-san's mask and start to explore the area I arrived in. As soon as I turned the corner, I saw something that would forever change me. The sight that met me was grotesque and distrusting in so many ways. Dead bodies littered the streets. I quickly noticed that almost all the women's bodies I found could be described as unattractive. At first I thought that was just what the women in this world looked like, but that thought was quickly dispelled when I found myself on something like a main road going through the city. The sight before made me start crying behind my mask. It was most terrible thing I had ever seen, more terrible than I could ever imagine. In front of me I saw dozens if not hundreds of soldiers raping women, some even doing it to corpses. Even a few men were being held at sword point and used as dolls. I even saw one man slowing cutting someone's face off. The places that didn't have that going on had dead bodies piled meters high. It must have been recent because the terrible smell hadn't set in yet. As I was staring in horror at the sight before me, I saw a woman walking through the street with a happy expression on her face, as if she were enjoying the screams of the dying around her, the cries of the victims, and the cheering of what appears to be her comrades. As soon as I looked at her, I could almost visibly see the death and suffering oozing off of her. I don't know what abilities I can and cannot use with such a low amount of magicules on this planet or how strong she is, but I know for sure that she is someone I cannot fight currently. I see her start looking in my direction and quickly duck into a side street and attempt to hide so she can't find me. That blue hair and large frame for a woman along with her sadistic smile is not something I will forget anytime soon. After finally getting away from that scene and having some time to take in what I saw, I can only say one thing. What the fuck is wrong with this world? The end.